try something, make sure it's what you want before you
All
buy
right, guys, I've
something.
got 7 o'clock. Alright, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight for the Lafayette Township Board of Trustees and Fire District regular meeting, Tuesday, June 9th at 7 p.m. Roll call.
Kittle here.
Salah here.
Paroli here. If everyone join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We just have 2 items on the consent agenda for tonight. Meeting minutes from May 26th, regular meeting, and the May 30th special meeting. Did everybody get a chance to review those?
Yes.
Any questions or concerns?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is our fiscal reports. First item is payroll. On the township side, for the pay period, May 24th to June 6th, payroll totaling $8,055.97. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On the fire district side, we've got payroll, same pay period, May 24th to June 6th, totaling $29,518.62. I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then for the warrants, on the township side, we have warrants totaling $24,185.31, electronic payment 2/15/2026 through 2/25/2026, and check numbers 37837 through 37849. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And on the fire district side, we have warrants totaling $23,072.42. Electronic payments 376/2026 through 382/2026, and checks 2213 through 2227. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Next item, I know we've talked about it a couple of times at the last 2 meetings, is the 2027 tax budget. I know Sherry had sent out spreadsheets. Everybody should have gotten the spreadsheets, to work from like we've done in the past. Sherry has some conflicting meetings, which is why she's missed the last couple. She's actually out in Spencer tonight. And talking with her, as we had discussed, maybe trying to put everything together individually and hopefully being able to do this in a little bit more condensed period. Sherry had recommended possibly doing the tax budget in advance of the next regular meeting, but on the same night. So like convene a special meeting at 6 p.m. on Tuesday the 23rd to do the tax budget. That should give us plenty of time to get through what we need to get through, possibly adjourn that a little bit early, and then conduct a regular meeting on that evening at 7 p.m. How does that work for both of you?
It should be okay for me.
Yeah, that'll work.
You're good with that?
6 o'clock.
Yeah, we would start at 6 p.m. on the 23rd. It would be a special meeting solely for the 2027 tax budget. Depending on how, close everybody is on the numbers that we come with to begin, probably doesn't take more than 30 minutes to get through what we need to get through, but then that way, if anybody wants to attend in the public, they can, but it doesn't necessarily lengthen up the regular meeting for anybody that's more concerned with, just the normal business that we handle. So, if everybody's good with that, I'll have Kristen put it on the website, and we'll get a special meeting scheduled for June 23rd, 6 p.m. for the tax budget. The other item that we have under fiscal, we've been talking about the, putting the deposits out for bid. We're up for our 5-year period. So I circulated the 2 resolutions, one for both the fire district and for the township. It would be resolutions 2026-40 and 2026-17 FD, and this just starts the process. Did anybody have any questions over?
No, I read through them, I think
Okay.
they're good.
Alright, so, I guess we'll do them individually. I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2026-40. Let me get you the actual title here. Resolution estimating the aggregate maximum amount of public funds to be awarded as active and interim deposits, authorizing the solicitation of depository applications and declaring an emergency. And just so that everybody knows, active deposits for the township are estimated at $2.6 million. We do not have any interim deposits. So I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Benoit, yes?
Roll, yes.
Kittle, yes.
And then we have a mirror resolution, 2026-17 FD, for the fire district deposits. And the numbers are actually remarkably close. It's about $2.5 million on the fire district side, for your active deposits, 0 interim deposits. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Benoit, yes?
Kittle, yes.
Roll, yes. Alright, the only other thing I have under there, in talking with Fiscal Officer Ward, just we've been trying to like kind of just clean up some of the different record keeping procedures and everything like that. We have, from time to time, there are reimbursements that need to be made. We just came up with a very simple, just reimbursement form.
Okay.
Anybody that needs to be reimbursed, whether, somebody from the office runs and picks up, we've had it where we've needed to pull titles, or we've had, some kind of one-off charges that somebody doesn't have, either a township credit card. But this will just allow us, instead of having a receipt and a sticky note, Sherry will have a, like kind of a more formal form.
Okay.
On top of it, the idea would be that any of the trustee liaisons, or at least department heads, are signing off so that they're understanding, why, not that there's never a time where a purchase wouldn't go through the normal process, but just this way, if there's kind of some extra visibility versus somebody just showing up with a receipt saying, hey, I wanna be reimbursed, type thing, so.
Documents the purchase.
Correct.
Right.
So, unless there's any
Sure.
objections, we'll start using that.
Yep.
That's all I had under fiscal. I know we had a couple of, things that have come up here as of recent, so, I will make the motion to enter executive session, under, ORC 121-22G1. There are actually 4 issues that we need to discuss. I don't believe any of them will be super lengthy, but it'll probably be a little bit of a session. The first is to consider employment of a public employee. The second is to consider the compensation of a public employee. Third is to consider the discipline of a public employee. And fourth is to consider the appointment of a public employee. I would make the motion to enter executive session.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Benoit, yes?
Kittle, yes.
Parole, yes. It is 7:08. It'll just be the 3 trustees in executive session. Alright, it is 7:28, we are out of executive session, no decisions were made. We will move on to, the fire district report. Trustee Kittle, if you wanna.
Yeah, so, no one from the fire department was available tonight, so, they sent out the reports, it's gonna be available online. Last month they had 45 calls. I'm not gonna get into all the details that Chief Kavanaugh goes through, but, like I said, it'll be available online if you wanna take a look at it. There are a couple items of business with the fire district. First of all, Luke Jackson resigned effective immediately due to family commitments and other obligations, preventing him from fulfilling his duties with the fire department, as well as Spencer Pappas has also submitted his resignation. He's moving out of the area and he's got other job commitments, and his time with Lafayette is very limited. So I'd like to make a motion to accept both of those resignations, one from Luke Jackson and Spencer Pappas.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Along the same lines, Alex Thomas is currently a lieutenant, and he wants to remain, he would like to step down from the lieutenant position and remain a firefighter EMT. So I would like to make a motion to accept that reclassification of Alex Thomas's position from lieutenant to firefighter EMT.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then lastly, we do have another applicant, Andre Krajinka. He's currently a firefighter 2 in EMT. He'll be completing paramedic school in December. We'd like to approve, we'd like to hire Andre. So I would like to make a motion to hire Andre Krajinka.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's all for the fire district.
I would like to know how we're doing on replacement.
I was gonna,
Sorry.
no, that's fine.
That's a good
I know we discussed at the last meeting, potentially using the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association.
Yeah.
We also have, obviously the option of, kind of creating our own informal board, to help with
Yes.
that process. There are also, 2 local retired chiefs that kind of offer a kind of hybrid in between. I have set up a time for them to come in and meet, but we may have to kind of bump that, but either way, they're gonna kind of give a proposal to compare to the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association. Hopefully have that for the board to take a look at, in the next couple of days, but we do need to kind of decide, I know we talked about
Yeah, so
interim, we've got the interim kind of situation settled,
right.
as far as, Rob Haas is gonna take over in the meantime until we can identify that replacement. But was there any more thought since the last meeting on kind of what direction we wanted to go?
I prefer to create this hybrid, or not hybrid, but this panel from local fire chiefs and people in the neighboring townships, Medina City. I haven't, so I met with Brian, Chief Kavanaugh this morning, and got a few different names, and I made one phone call and got a voicemail, and I was busy with work and didn't get any other phone calls made, so I do plan on, I have about 6 people to contact. One's for Gloria Glens.
I was saying you're gonna reach out to both of the villages? Okay.
Both the villages, and then also a couple different fire chiefs in the area.
Okay.
And just get their input and see if they'd be
Okay.
interested in creating a panel to interview candidates.
Okay, so then hopefully, maybe for the meeting on the 23rd, we can come with maybe what those 3 options are gonna look like, and
Yes.
then we can decide as a board where we're gonna go. Okay. And then, since we brought it up, did you wanna talk about, formalizing, compensation for?
Yeah, so we authorized, at our special meeting, we authorized Robert Haas to work full-time hours and work with Brian, Chief Kavanaugh, in the short term until Chief Kavanaugh's resignation takes effect. And they worked together a lot last week. Rob had to leave this week for a training, but they will spend some more time before the 20th, and I would like to set, so after Chief Kavanaugh leaves
On the 20th.
on the 20th, Robert Haas will be the interim chief, and I would like to set his salary at $72,800. Comes out to be about $35 an hour with no benefits.
And that's slightly below where,
Slightly below what Chief Kavanaugh is currently earning and what he was scheduled to earn next, I think at the end of the month, he was supposed to get a raise.
okay, and then he will be then in OPNF, I'm sure, at that point, since he's going salary versus hourly.
Yes.
Alright, so you're making a motion just to,
Make a motion to appoint, I think we already appointed.
to set his
To
compensation.
set his compensation at $72,800 annually with no benefits,
Effective
effective June 21st.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Police.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Alright, so we're now on to the township reports, service department.
Sorry.
Service department for this past month, rented the road section, performed weekly road inspections. There was some tree trimming that was performed there at Rosemont Way, Hunter's Run, and Imagine Lane. We had a chipper was rented for that. In addition, for using it for that, I had the guys go out and, get the trees that were laying down in the ditches and get those cleaned up. Obviously, there's a lot more as far as taking trees down, but we're gonna save that for another season. We started a pretty good sized burn cutting project here, lowering the driveways that have been too high on the aprons. We did get the rental machine in from Hyatt, and using it here for a little over a week now. So far we've cut, Egypt, Karsten, Lance, and Deerview, so we're hopefully tomorrow we're gonna go over and start on Coon Club. Need to do Parker and Carlton. Eventually switch over to Bash, and then the last road will be Ryan Road. Oh, in addition to that, we're gonna try to do Hunter's Drive there at Chip. Under the equipment, back on the roads there, we began mowing the berms also here, between myself and the other guys. Under the equipment section, washed equipment is needed. We did replace the brush, rebuild it on the power sweeper attachment for cleaning the roads off after we get dirt driven on. Just did the typical preventive maintenance to the equipment. Under the building section, kept the garages and town hall clean, stocked with supplies. Kept the grass mowed at the administration / service garage property. Under the cemeteries, there was no plot sales or burials this past month. Under the park section, just to remove the debris and empty the garbage cans at Lions, and just a reminder that Lions Park, as everybody probably knows, is going to be utilized on July 4th this summer. Under the action points, I was wanting to bring up again, for the board to consider possibly hiring a tree service to come in and take those 4 trees down at the Walt Cemetery. We're concerned if we try to take them down ourselves, we're gonna damage headstones. That's the reason I mentioned that. A couple of stones are starting to heave a couple of the trees are starting to heave some headstones. The biggest tree there at the cemetery is starting to split in the middle and it's gonna fall. We did lose a big limb on it coming out of winter when we had that real heavy windstorm and it landed and knocked the stone over. Thankfully it didn't damage it, but the ground's starting to dry up now. It'd be possibly considered in the summer. Last thing I had wrote down on action points was for the board to consider passing a resolution so we can close Ryan Road intermittently as we do the burn cutting. I'd like to do it in 1 mile block sections, like we did Karsten and Lance. We would still keep it open for the residents that live on those sections to get through. We're just trying to cut back on the cut-through traffic and hopefully not get run over. Since we're short on help with having flaggers.
When do you foresee needing to do Ryan?
Depending on how things go, tar and chip's gonna be coming this week too. I should have put under the road, so that's probably gonna be Thursday or Friday. I'll have to load trucks for that. We won't be cutting berm. I would imagine probably in a couple weeks, probably, start,
Can we say that to be the last part of the berm cutting?
yes.
Only because we'll wanna, actually, in order to close the road, we'll wanna prepare a resolution to pass that. I don't have the,
Okay.
kind of the template language together, but,
Yeah,
If
it'll
we
be
do
the
it the
last
23rd.
Thursday.
You'll still be able to get in before the end of the month.
I hope so, everything plays out.
We can always do an emergency meeting if we need to for something like that. On the trees, get a couple of quotes for the next meeting.
Will do.
And then, specials, you done that?
Oh, Baelish Road, I understand there's gonna be a delay with, in prosecutor's office wasn't happy with the language and how things was for the bid process.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, that's gonna have to go back out again for bid.
Okay, so so everyone understands what happened. In 2025, the revised code was changed. The language was changed that contracts could be posted on the website and on social media accounts for the township. That's sections 5575.01A3. When our bid went out, the county engineers put that the township advertised it on the website and our social media account. We do not have a social media account. This was flagged up by the prosecution's office. They came back to me Friday to say that it was not written properly, but I had to check with Kristen first of all to make sure we put it on the website. We had, but the prosecutor's office then ruled again that they would be retracting the information that was given and that we would have to rebid it. So I worked quite at length with the prosecution's office and with the engineer's office to get this in place. The reason being is we have a very short window. I know this we talked about as a board, haven't we, about the short window that we've got because this is under a grant. So the first thing the prosecution's office asked me to do was to form a resolution which would rescind the resolution which approved the bid in the first place, which I put together, sent it to the prosecution's office, and they came back and said that what I had put together with a few edits was appropriate, which I sent to you guys. Do you have any questions on that one?
Well, I guess maybe you might have just started to answer it when you said that one. There were two different
yeah.
resolutions that you sent out. So
Yeah.
so the one you're talking about originally is the one that was labeled 2026-41.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one, that's the one that rescinds the resolution of 2026-38, which was the resolution that went out to approve the bids. And then the second resolution that the prosecution's office and the engineer's office has asked me to do is a resolution that authorises the Medina County Engineer's Office to re-advertise and rebid the replacement culvert number 31 on the Baelish Road in Lafayette Township. So I sent you those. I'm really sorry it was late, trying to fit everything in the last day or two to get this in place. The reason why it is so late as well is to get this in the Gazette for Friday, we have to approve it tonight in order to get it out there because we've got such a tight window to get it out. So I sent you both the resolutions. Did you both get to read them?
Yeah.
Are you both happy with them?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. You the first one that you sent, you said the prosecutor's office looked at this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not even remotely close to okay with it.
No.
Well, no, I mean, first off, you know, I understand the prosecutor's position, and just, get this loaded up here. So that everybody's on the same page, it's what, ORC 5507? Is that what they cited?
5575.01A3.
577501A3.
Yeah.
So just so that everybody's on the page, do you have it? Sorry.
Yeah. I like that.
So that everybody's on the same page. In the maintenance and repair of roads, the Board of Township Trustees may proceed either by contract or force account, but unless the exemption specified in Division C of this section applies, if the board wishes to proceed by force account, it first shall cause the county engineer to complete the force account assessment form developed by the Auditor of State under Section 117.16 of the revised code, except as otherwise provided in Sections 505.08 and 505.101 of the revised code. When the board proceeds by contract, the contract shall, if the amount involved exceeds $105,000, be let by the board to the lowest responsible bidder after advertisement of bids once, not later than 2 weeks, prior to the date fixed for letting of the contract, using at least one of the following methods. 1, print the digital, in the print or digital edition of the newspaper of general circulation within the township. 2, on the official public notice website established under section 125-182 of the revised code, which is a state-run site. And 3, on the website and social media account of the township. So they're interpreting that third section as meaning that it has to be both, even if you don't have both. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. But even if we did, the county engineer's office was the one that actually arranged for that. And the language in this resolution says, it was discovered that the statutory public advertisement requirements of the bidding process were not properly satisfied. I don't know that language is necessarily fair, in that, you know, it's an interpretation of whether they were satisfied or not. I definitely don't have a problem rescinding it, but to put language that strong in there, basically saying that we didn't follow the rules, even though we weren't even the ones that instituted it, I don't know why this board would accept the responsibility for the failure of notice when we weren't the ones that failed the notice requirements. Additionally, it says that because the bid was not advertised properly in accordance with Ohio law, the contract was improvidently awarded. I mean, that's a rather extreme admission of negligence on the part of this board that had nothing to do with it. The fact that the prosecutor's office, acting as our statutory authority, would recommend that we approve something like this is very concerning to me. But, that being said, I do think we can accomplish exactly what we need to accomplish with rescinding the prior bids and reauthorizing new bids in a much cleaner, much simpler resolution. So, I did draft this afternoon. Bear with me here, sorry. Resolution rescinding Resolution 2026-38, rejecting all bids received for the replacement of culvert number 31 on Ballas Road, and authorizing re-advertisement of the project. The Board of Trustees, Lafayette Township, Medina County, Ohio, met in regular session on the 9th day of June 2026 at the Lafayette Township Safety Services Building, 6367 Technology Lane, Medina, Ohio 44256, with the following members present: Trustees Carrie Ballard, Nick Kittle, and Justin Paroli. Whereas the Board of Trustees previously adopted Resolution number 2026-38 on May 12, 2026, awarding a contract for the replacement of culvert number 31 on Ballas Road, and whereas subsequent review of the procurement process raised questions concerning the sufficiency of the public advertisement utilized for the project, and whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that the public interest is best served by rejecting all bids received and re-advertising the project in order to eliminate any unnecessary concerns, any uncertainty concerning the bidding process, ensure full and fair competition, and protect the integrity of the bidding process. And whereas the board finds that the rescission of Resolution 2026-38 and re-advertisement of the project is in the best interest of Lafayette Township and its residents, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Lafayette Township, Medina County, Ohio, that Section 1, rescission of the prior award. Resolution number 2026-38, adopted May 12, 2026, awarding a contract for the replacement of culvert number 31 on Ballas Road is hereby rescinded. Section 2, rejection of the bids. All bids received for the replacement of culvert number 31 on Ballas Road are hereby rejected. Section 3, re-advertisement authorized. The fiscal officer, in coordination with the Medina County engineer and other appropriate officials, is authorized and directed to take all necessary actions to re-advertise the project and receive bids in accordance with the applicable law. Section 4, ratification of prior actions. The board hereby ratifies and confirms all actions previously taken by township officials, employees, agents, and representatives in connection with the solicitation, receipt, review, and evaluation of bids for the project to the extent consistent with this resolution. And Section 5 is the Open Meetings Act compliance. The board finds that and determines that all formal actions of the board concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board that resulted in such formal actions occurred in meetings open to the public in compliance with Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22. Effective date: the resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. My preference would be to adopt this in place of the two larger, kind of more, they're kind of redundant, really, when you look at what was put together. And I also think, again, it covers everything that needs to be covered. Rescind the prior action,
Right. And that's what I
address the fact,
think we all agree.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
That we
You
need
know,
to rescind
I don't think there's any
It was
reason.
unfair that we got blamed kind of for it, and it's like, we did everything the way we were supposed to. The problem, when I talked to the prosecutor's office, that wording in there says, the wording is social media, website and social media, so,
But it very much mimics the same language that they put in the public notice requirements when they changed the
That's
rules
it.
last year.
yeah.
And it's the same thing. If you have social media, you're supposed to put it on that as well. But the idea that lacking a social media account, which many would have, that
Penalizes us,
you
yeah.
all of a sudden can't use a separate method of notice seems a bit, but at the same time, I don't wanna say that I don't understand the prosecutor's office concern, right? We have the opportunity to do it, to clear what was done, to do it the right way. I just don't know why we would sit here and make all these grandiose statements about how we didn't follow the law when we relied on advice of counsel for the process. The county is the one that made the assertions that things were done here that we didn't, nobody here ever said we put it on a social media account, because
We don't have,
we don't have one.
right.
So to take that, I just don't see any reason to do
No,
that.
I appreciate your work with that as well, putting that one together, thank you.
Well, and I hope you understand, like,
Yeah, no,
with
I
the way
do.
that it came down, there was really no chance to
Oh, we couldn't discuss it, no, that's it.
before tonight, so, if you guys are okay with this language,
And that one, sorry Justin, that one
Yep.
does authorize the
yes,
county to go ahead and get it in the Gazette.
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
So everything will be done, it combines the elements of necessary action and
Yeah.
takes out a lot of the the extra language
Yeah.
that isn't necessary.
Superfluous.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
So if you guys are okay with that, I will make the motion to pass the resolution that I just read, 2026-41, rescinding resolution 2026-38 and authorizing re-advertisement of the Ballas Road Culvert project.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Well, yes.
Kiddo, yes.
Roll, yes.
Thank you, Justin.
No problem.
And then we do have another part of the business on the service department. So in the last meeting, we approved to employ Tim to help with the service department. We did have a conversation with him, I did, and unbeknownst to me, I hadn't realised that Tim had not received a pay rise in probably 3 years, I think it was, or just over 3 years. So with that in mind, we had a discussion about it. So I would like to make the motion to raise Tim up to $24 an hour, and for him to start effective immediately.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Were you gonna reach out to Tim then, or is Matt?
Matt, would you? Yeah, I can do it as well.
Okay.
We'll never know. Yeah, thank you, Matt. That's us all for
Thank you.
service.
Next up is zoning. So we have the zoning report, kind of a light month. So we've got, this one's from April, these are all, Karen, did we get updated, cause these are all April permits?
I thought he did, but I
That's
left.
Alright, well then, we'll get that updated. For I mean, you both received the email this morning. Mr. Wilson did, give us his resignation this morning. You know, I think it wound up being a little more than what he bargained for when he first took on the part-time zoning inspector position with the township. So he did resign effective immediately, so we do have, an opening. We had interviewed 3 candidates, when we had, hired Mr. Wilson in February. I did reach out to, you know, the kind of runner-up. He he is still interested, but in the interim, I did speak with, our zoning inspector, or our zoning secretary, our zoning, Freudian slip there, our zoning inspector who may be able to help us, or will be able to help us out, is willing to help us out in the interim, while we get a chance to, because when we originally interviewed for, the zoning inspector position, Trustee Kittle wasn't on the board at the time, so he hasn't had the opportunity to meet, with the candidate, and we would like him to be able to do that. But at the same time, the same issue that we ran into earlier this year when we found ourselves without a zoning inspector, there is no remedy for us to substitute anybody else to sign zoning permits or facilitate any of that in the township if we don't name an interim. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll either be ready to, you know, appoint or re-advertise the position. So in the interim, I would offer resolution 2026-42, a resolution appointing Karen Schoonover as interim zoning inspector for Lafayette Township.
Do you want to probably motion to accept Tom first? or-
Resignation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will make the motion
You're
to,
so good.
I know.
I will make the motion to approve, the resignation, or to accept the resignation of Tom Wilson as our zoning inspector effective immediately.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. With that done, thank you, Kristen. The resolution appointing Karen Schoonover as interim zoning inspector for Lafayette Township, standard intro. Whereas Tom Wilson has submitted his resignation as Lafayette Township zoning inspector, and whereas the Board of Trustees has accepted said resignation. Whereas the board finds it necessary to provide for the continued administration and enforcement of the Lafayette Township zoning resolution pending the appointment of a permanent zoning inspector. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Lafayette Trustees. Section 1 is the appointment. Karen Schoonover is hereby appointed interim zoning inspector for Lafayette Township effective immediately upon adoption. Section 2, concurrent service. The Board of Trustees finds that Ms. Schoonover possesses the knowledge and experience necessary to ensure continuity of zoning administration. During the term of this appointment, Ms. Schoonover shall continue to serve as Lafayette Township zoning secretary and shall perform the duties of both positions. Authority and duties, Section 3, the interim zoning inspector shall possess and exercise all powers, duties, and responsibilities of the zoning inspector as provided by the Lafayette Township zoning resolution and applicable provisions of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, compensation and hours. Ms. Schoonover shall continue to be compensated at her current rate of pay. In order to accommodate the additional responsibilities associated with this interim appointment, her authorized work schedule is hereby increased to a maximum of 28 hours per week, unless otherwise modified by subsequent action of the Board of Trustees. Section 5, duration. The appointment shall remain in effect until a permanent zoning inspector is appointed by the Board of Trustees or until otherwise terminated by action of the board. And Section 6, effective date. The resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. And if there's nothing to add, if everybody's okay with that, I will make the motion to approve Resolution 2026-42, appointing Karen Schoonover as our interim zoning inspector.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Hala, yes?
Kittle, yes.
Roll, yes.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it would be fair to the residents, you know, this busy time and zoning. So,
So with that, did anybody have anything they wanted to cover under correspondence?
We do. I had a resident reach out to me about the solicitation in the township. So I did check with Lieutenant and with the Sheriff's Department. This is a big conversation, but I'll just let you know. Our resolution that's on our township website is actually out of date because the Sheriff's Department don't do it. So when I spoke with Lieutenant, we're going to wait till Lieutenant Markham comes back, but Nick, I'm going to hand it to you because it's your department. I know you're really busy at the moment, but if you need a little help, I don't mind helping. But we do need to revisit this as a new resolution will need to be written. I'll give you the details that I've got so far, but it was a concern for the residents that contacted me about why we're allowing them to come into the township while we don't have permits. So that was one of the things. And then we did have notice given to us from the Medina County Sanctuary From the water board, yeah, from the water board. Just so the residents are aware, we did tell you about this going back earlier in the year though, but as of June the 8th, Chippewa Road and Lake Road will be subject to lane closures with traffic controls throughout the construction areas. There is a letter that's going to go out. They are telling and letting the residents know that if you have trees, shrubs, bushes, anything within the right of way, they will remove them. And they will not be replaced in those sides of things. But I will give the letter to Kristen so she can put it on the website so that the residents can see it. They would please be aware that that part of the road will be closed for a period of time where they're doing this water project. It's a water main replacement that they're putting in. The only thing that I had, thank you.
Nick, did you have anything?
I do not.
I had one, but we'll address it a little later. Under the unresolved business, I don't know that we have really a bunch of movement on the first probably 3 items on there. I don't know if, did you guys have any interest in revisiting those, or we'll kind of keep those where they're at? But we did have, we talked about it briefly at the last meeting, the server room, the APCs. I did get a quote from Keith Castle with KGC. We'd be looking at roughly $900 a piece for those APCs. So his recommendation was to replace the one that's in there currently and to put a second one in as a backup, kind of, to do that. And then there were a couple other items, but I do want to, I'll forward
Is
this
that
to
the
you.
impression you got last time? I thought you mentioned that you thought it would be, both of them would be about that price, not each.
I did think that they were gonna be less expensive, but that was probably just a,
Your assumption.
yeah, exactly,
No problem. I just-
incorrect assumption. It wasn't that anything changed on Keith's end. You know, and I do think that, you know, especially with that being kind of like the control piece of the whole thing, right? Like, I do think it's something that we should probably look at moving forward with.
Yeah.
You know, $2,000, a little under $2,000 to make sure that, you know, everything stays powered up back there, and that's kind of, nothing works without that, so. He did quote us some recommendations that he had, and like I said, I'll forward this to you guys as well so you have it, but, you know, upgrading some of the switches and ports, but we had talked about, we have that cybersecurity grant that we may be able to use for some of that hardware, and I think it's a little bit less pressing of an issue. So I don't know that I want to address that piece of it tonight, but I do think we should, you know,
Address the APCs.
address the APCs. The one that's in there, you know, like I said, the last short power surge power outage we had, it didn't have enough juice to kick itself back on. We had to like manually restart it and then like kind of let it get going. So it's probably on its final leg. So if nothing else, we should replace at least one, or replace it with a new one. But I do think that there's probably some value in making sure that we have some redundancy to the power source. Thoughts?
It's 900 each.
Yeah, they're 900 each. APC, Smart UPS, none of this makes any difference to me, but I mean, if you wanna look at it, there's, you know, the top line here is the APC, you know, that is recommended.
So when the power goes out, that obviously affects the fire department greatly then, doesn't it? Yeah, so I think,
Well, we have a backup generator, but that's what, you know, keeps juice flowing to everything in the server room.
so I think it's probably more pressing than leaving it because that's a safety issue that we've got, isn't it? We keep losing power and we can't keep.
Well, it knocks down the phones, the
Yeah.
cameras, you know, all of that. So, if you guys don't have anything to add, I would approve, up to $2,000 to replace the, APC unit and buy a second for the fire department.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Under new business, we had it come up at the last meeting. I'm sorry I didn't get it on the agenda for you guys, but we should have, it could have come up pretty much anywhere, but, we had a resident that was here about the parking issue over on Wycliffe.
Yeah.
In what I was able to research, I can't find any standing resolution where any previous board took action to restrict parking in that section. So I didn't want to just make a decision outside of it, but, you know, my recommendation would be, it sounds like the residents over there aren't real keen on the additional restriction on parking on that side. I would say we just authorize the service department to go take the no parking sign that's down on that, what would be south side of Wycliffe at the end there,
Southwest.
and just get that out of there.
Yep.
Okay, alright. Take care of that for us? Alright, thank
Take
you.
care of it tomorrow.
Did you guys have any new business you wanted to bring before the board? Well, then the only other thing I have before we get to public comment are the administrative announcements. You know, the vouchers are still going through the 19th. And we have Township Movie Night coming up, on July 17th. So hopefully some nice weather and, the Sandlot. And with that, I'll open the floor for public comment. Nobody.
Going once.
Alright, well, seeing none, I will go to trustee comments. Trustee Ballard, do you have anything you would like to add before we adjourn?
Just that, I know Matt mentioned it, that they are cutting the berms in the township. It is a bit of a culture shock for the township because it's not been done, and it can be a little difficult sometimes for some of the residents to adjust to some of this. So just bear in mind, I know people have reached out to me about it, and I've had lots of pictures sent to me. They've talked to Karen about it as well. They're doing what they need to do in order to preserve our roads. One of the things that I was going to ask Matt to say about it tonight, but we forgot, is by lowering it down, it helps take the water off the roads. Long term, it's going to preserve the roads as well. It's also checking to see whether our driveways are higher than necessary. So for the resident who have reached out, I am getting back to as many as I can. It's taken a little while though to sort of to visit everyone's property. Matt and I will be out together. We will go measure for any of the properties in which we've had complaints on, where they feel like we've gone into their yards too much. We will double check it all. We'll be out measuring it though, but I am in the process of getting through the residents with it though. That's it.
Trustee Kittle, anything to add?
The only thing I would say is, you know, Ms. Collins asked about the fire chief, and we talked about that a little bit. It's probably gonna be open for 60 to 90 days before we, at least, before we hire somebody. It's a pretty important position, and we just wanna make sure we get it right, so, it's not gonna be something that we're gonna, rush into, but, just wanted everybody to know that we're gonna do our due diligence and try to find the best, candidate for the position.
Well, it just needs to stay on the table.
No, 100%, we're on top of it, and I do wanna, you know, I will piggyback on that. I think, you know, while I understand everybody's concern over filling the position, you know, I think the three of us up here wanna make sure that we find the best possible candidate that we can, not just the first viable candidate that comes across the board. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything about the people that we have in place now. It's just, you know, this is the direction of the department, hopefully for a good number of years. So, you know, we wanna take this process seriously, and get the right person in here.
No, I think that
So-
he's a valuable member of the board.
Yep, community. Well, and we also have the luxury of having a very competent individual to make sure that the things are being done the way that they need to be done
Right.
with where we're at right now. So, you know, Chief Kavanaugh did leave us in a pretty good position. So, you know, that gives us the luxury of being able to handle this process with some deliberate steps as opposed to just kinda having to race
Throw
and find
somebody in.
somebody.
Yeah.
Right, so, and with that, if there isn't anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll make a motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
sorry.
It is 8:09.
Now, do you want a second?
I'll second.
Alright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is 8:09 and the meeting is adjourned. Close.
Good
Watch
job.
the game.
Who's even playing?
Who's playing tonight?